For the longest time, I've had an addiction to food delivery apps and binging and gorging on junk food. It was so bad that I would start my day with some sugary cereal, eat two pizzas for lunch, have some Snickers bar as a snack, and then eat two burgers with two large fries and two chicken pops and ice cream for dinner. I hated how undisciplined I was, and no matter how hard I tried, I'd end up on the couch with McDonald's wraps all around me, watching The Sopranos or some like that. Couldn't stop eating, and when I looked for advice online, everyone just called me a bitch and that I should stop eating and try harder. I worked at a job I hated, and I literally spent all the money I earned on food delivery apps. Imagine how pathetic that was. I was like a crack addict when it came to junk food. And literally all the advice I could find online was some BS like, oh, don't have chocolate in the house because you'll go in the cupboard, or oh, just go to the gyms and yeah, none of that worked. And that was when I realized that all these YouTubers never really were addicted to food like I was. I completely lost hope because none of their advice worked. I was obese as a kid, and I figured, well, I got lean once and twice, but that was it. My time was up, just a hiccup. I'd just be fat forever for the rest of my life. I was completely hopeless. But out of nowhere, I decided to start researching the science of cravings and junk food and hunger and fat loss, and that's when everything changed. And since then, I am down more than 8 kilos, so that's a bit more than 20 pounds. I haven't ordered takeaway in a long time, and I haven't binged in months. And I'll actually have abs again in a month or two, so I'll look like an actual fitness YouTuber, which is pretty cool. And I want the same for you. So, to stop you from being addicted to junk food and ordering Uber Eats, we need to understand human biology. We need to understand why you do the certain things that you do. And to do that, we need to understand how our brain makes decisions. We all know about evolution and principles like survival of the fittest. So basically, the best decision makers and the fittest animals survived, and the weakest ones and the dumb ones died off, right? Makes sense. So, humans, we evolved. So in an evolutionary way, the humans that intrinsically seek the highest calorie, fastest, and the most convenient food, the ones that got the best deal on food, would have survived a lot better and more than the humans that would have seeked low-calorie food that takes 2 hours to cook right. On an evolutionary sense, the guy that chose to only wait 3 minutes to get a high-calorie tasty burger meal at a McDonald's or something with some fries and then like some chicken on the side and gain some weight would have outlived the guy and outlasted the guy that would take his time, make some healthy pasta, fried shrimp, oh, let me cut up some onions, parsley, oregano. Yeah, fuck that. The guy that was like, a fucking McDonald's, let me eat that shit. I'm not gonna spend that much time. Cool. Would have outlived the other guy, right? Makes sense. Preferring foods that are good deals made us the top of the food chain, made us survive in like the old times where we were cavemen and whatnot. But here is the thing. We didn't have as many choices as we have right now. So the good deal would probably be the apple off the tree or snacking on some nuts or something at best. You also need to understand that we have two parts of our brain. So we got neocortex and then something called the basal ganglia. But for simplicity, let's just call it your lizard brain and then your thinking brain. So in your lizard brain, there is a key part of your brain that makes choices and guides your actions, and that thing is called the striatum. And when you get hungry, your striatum, aka lizard brain, starts receiving ideas and bids about what to do, and it weighs up every option. For example, you might get hungry while you're just sitting on the couch watching Sopranos or something, and you start to get low on energy, so your brain sends a signal to your lizard brain that you are hungry. So now your lizard brain must make a decision. Your lizard brain must decide that it needs to make a plan to acquire food and then eat it to satisfy its hunger. So your brain gets signals and evaluates them one by one. Does that make sense? And your brain evaluates these ideas on certain levels, like how cheap the food is, how tasty it is, how much effort it will take, how you felt the last time you ate it. And the signals that your brain evaluates might be something like this. Oh, you're hungry, just go to the fridge, you could cook some chicken and pasta, but it'll take you 20 minutes and you have to get off the couch and actually cook and spend more time. Not sure about that. And another suggestion might be, you're hungry, you can order some pizza, but it's like 25 quid, that's too expensive, so let's not do that. And then the other suggestion could be, you're hungry, how about we go down to the kebab shop up the street, and it's really tasty and cheap, man, but then again, it's like, I'm too tired, I don't want to get up, it's cold, I don't want to go outside. You get an evaluation. That sounds fucking perfect. You're hungry. You don't even have to get off the couch or turn off the Sopranos. You can just click 2 buttons on your phone, open up UberEats, and eat that really amazing burger that you had the last time with some ice cream. And it's only £10 because, well, we got a coupon deal and it'll only be here in 10 minutes. Wow. So can you understand how much of a good deal ordering takeaway food is to our lizard brain? I want you to really understand how amazing this is. It's so great that it most likely is the best food deal out there in any given time, unless you're like outside and you see like a restaurant. But then again, you kind of want to go home and watch like the TV show or YouTube and eat, so it still is a great option. I really need you to understand this. This was by design by these companies that pander to your lazy lizard brain, the primal, stupid, lower self of you. You need to understand that the more you let your lizard brain make decisions for you, the more you say no to your lean self. So here's something else, man. We learn everything. I know it like sounds stupid. What do you mean we learned everything? Like literally everything you're doing right now, you've learned it. When you were a baby, all you knew was just sucking on some tits and crying. So we even have to learn how to walk. How insane is that? Let's say you want to learn the guitar, right? When you first pick up the guitar, you can't play it obviously, but because you suck, you've never played guitar before. But after some hours of pathetic attempt, you manage to maybe play 2 notes. And what happens is that your brain realizes that something good just happened. You've done something good. So a part of your brain called the VTA sends dopamine to your lizard brain, and this teaches your brain to repeat the same action again in the future, because dopamine is the main motivator of our lizard brain. When you eat chocolate, have sex, masturbate, or eat a high-calorie tasty burger, for example, your VTA floods your brain with insane amounts of dopamine so that your brain learns to repeat the same actions again in the future, because amazing for your lizard brain. And the dopamine you get is super fucking high amount. You literally right now, today, as you are living your life, might have had more dopamine in your brain than kings had like over their lifetime. That's a bit of an over exaggeration, but you get my point. Here's why this is bad. For example, I will script this video, record it like I am doing right now, I'll edit it, I'll make a thumbnail and then upload it, and then it'll probably get like 5 views. But when I finally hit upload, I will feel satisfied, yeah? And I will get some dopamine. Yes, I will get some dopamine, correct. But the things we mentioned, like ordering junk food or masturbation, will give you a lot more dopamine than doing a higher, smarter, non-primal form of activity, right? My lizard brain thinks that eating a burger will get me a lot closer to my goals or whatever than working on my business or coaching people. But I, as a smart thinking capable human, know that making this video is what I should do right now, right? I know that this will help me out a lot more in the long run than eating a double quarter pounder. But your lizard brain doesn't understand that, and that's why you fall short of your goals and fail to stay on a diet, because your lizard brain is the one that controls your decisions. And right now, you haven't done the actions needed to be able to tame your lizard brain, which I'll teach you, so don't worry. Anyway, so we start to associate certain satisfiers with certain feelings and needs. If you satisfy a hunger craving by eating UberEats or Deliveroo, then you will be rewarded with fuck ton of dopamine. Meaning that now, next time when you are weighing your options, remember how your lizard brain made the choice between the fridge, restaurant, and ordering food, right? Because now that you've satisfied your hunger by ordering some junk food, your brain learned that ordering takeaway junk food is good for you, and it will reinforce it. And every time you feel hungry, you will now want to order the same junk food without even thinking about it. Because now in your brain, it takes zero computational power to go, oh, I'm hungry, Oh, boom, McDonald's because it gave me a lot of dopamine. Boom, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, takeaway. This behavior can come so automatic, it'll almost be like riding a bike, you know? You hop on a bike, you don't even think about pushing the pedals, right? It just happens automatically. And you get hungry 3 to 4 times a day, right? So your brain literally craves ordering junk food and takeaway 3 to 4 times a day. In a span of 10 seconds, you can literally order food without even thinking about it. You're on the toilet, you're scrolling Instagram, and you kind of feel hungry, man. Boom, 2 clicks, Uber Eats, order McDonald's without even thinking about it. Here's where it gets worse. So basically, there's this Russian doctor called Pavlov, right? And he does a study where he rings a bell and then he feeds the dog. Pretty simple stuff, we all know this, right? Pavlov's dogs, he rings the bell and then gives his dog some food. But after some time passes, Pavlov realizes that when he rings the bell, the dogs start to drool and salivate in anticipation of the food without the food. So I can just put a picture of a Big Mac up on the screen or mention a donut or something, and you might literally start salivating and craving a donut like a fucking dog. You can literally start drooling looking at like that crispy, nice, cheesy pizza where the cheese is dripping. You might get super hungry over it. Because the action got so reinforced in our lizard brains that now the action just leads to the junk food. And the things that give us high amounts of dopamine can literally ruin our lives. Case in point, your food binging addiction or cocaine. Literally, for example, cocaine hijacks your brain's dopamine center, and being a junk food addict is no different than being a cocaine addict. You're like a drug user with these junk food. Anyway, I'll drive the point even more home. So they've done a rat study. So this professor connected to the rat's VTA, and every time he pressed a button, the rat got a dopamine hit. So as we said, the VTA is the part of the brain that releases dopamine, right? So every time the scientist pressed the button, the rat experienced the rat equivalent of busting a nut, eating chocolate, and winning the lottery at the same time. They put the rat in a cage, and then they also put a box in the cage. And every time the rat poked his nose inside the box, the scientist guy pressed the button, giving the rat a dopamine hit. At first, he just curiously stumbled into the box. Then he started to notice a pattern, man, because he was getting some dopamine, right? And started poking his nose into the box more. After some time, it got so bad that the rat ended up poking his nose in the box more than 800 times, ignoring anything else. Like, the rat would literally rather shit himself than let go of poking his nose because the dopamine was that, like, the dopamine hits were so strong, motivating, and addictive to the rat. And isn't that what exactly happens to you sometimes? The food is so good that you literally throw your whole life away and ignore everything else just to have a fucking bite of the food, like a crack addict. Sometimes your food addiction gets so bad that you do stuff that you're ashamed of, right? And don't lie to me. Binging and junk food addiction can get so bad that sometimes you just want to eat yourself to death. Like the food is the only pleasure in your life. And this is why. It's because the shitty junk food has hijacked your fucking lizard brain so much with intense dopamine that nothing ever makes you happy anymore. It literally is because the evil food companies designed food that way. To give you insane amounts of dopamine and to get you addicted. Now, here's a shameless plug. If you would like to finally get rid of your junk food addiction and start losing fat, click the first link in the description. It's my online program where I give you an exact step-by-step blueprint to get rid of your cravings and start eating healthy and lose fat and become lean. So click the link in the description if you'd like to finally stop your crack addict behavior on food. Okay, that's the shameless plug over. Let's move on. Now, you might be curious, why do certain foods give you so much dopamine and don't, right? I personally have gorged on foods like McDonald's, but I never found myself binging on apples or carrots. Here's another rat study, and I know, too many fucking rats. Fucking zoo in here, eh? But they put 2 drinks in the rat cage, alright? And one is cherry flavored water, and the other is grape flavored water. And what they found was that the black rats chose the grape. No, I'm kidding. Hopefully you get the joke. If not, Like, don't worry. So let's be serious. So with these two different flavored water, the rats chose to drink from them equally, 50-50. But something interesting happened when they decided to infuse some digestive starch into their stomachs. So they would pump starch into their stomach, the rat stomachs, while they were drinking cherry flavored water. But the rats wouldn't taste any starch, obviously, because they weren't like drinking the starch. They weren't like drinking the sugar. After 4 days or so, they observed that the rats preferred the cherry flavored water over the grape flavored water. They preferred the taste of cherry even though the sugar never touched their mouth, so they never tasted the sugar. This was because their intestine sensed the calories, and then it sent dopamine hits to the brain. So the brain told rats to do that behavior again. The brain literally trained itself to drink more cherry because it would give them more calories. Now, before you start going on about avoiding sugar, blah blah blah, they've done the same thing with fats and protein, and the same thing happened. What truly gave us the dopamine hit, the insane dopamine, was the calorie density of the food. The more calorie dense a food is, the more dopamine it releases in our brain, so that you learn to prefer certain flavors over others. You eat a food, and if your gut senses that it is high in calories, you literally learn to prefer that flavor over others. And that's why no one craves blueberries or lettuce, because they're not fucking calorie dense, right? Compared to donuts or cookies. So now you understand how much of a strong pull that small burger with 800 calories have over you. Do you understand how fucked up the food industry is? And that's why the junk food of UberEats will win 90% of the time, even if you want to eat healthy foods and lose fat. Because like your brain, literally, you trained itself to crave and eat junk food 24/7. Your brain is literally designed to eat junk food. So how do we combat this, man? How can you actually start to win this battle against your lizard brain? Okay, so we talked about the two brains, right? Your lizard brain and your thinking brain. From now on, we're gonna call those your inner pig and your higher self. And I know we have many names for this stuff, but stick with me, okay? So your dumbass lizard brain is your lower self, and then your thinking brain that wants to get ripped and all that and have a good life with bigger goals is your higher self. And think of your lower self as an elephant and your higher self as the elephant's rider. It's really hard to control the elephant, but we can kind of influence where it goes with discipline and willpower. But here is the thing. Each day we have limited amount of willpower and limited discipline, and the more we use it, the more it depletes. The good thing with willpower and discipline is that they are like a muscle. So the more we use it, the more they get stronger and grow. So I could just tell you to be disciplined from now on, call you a bitch and just tell you to try harder, which is probably what 99% of YouTubers would do. But that's not a good strategy because your willpower and discipline will eventually run out and let you down. You need to get to a place where you walk past McDonald's, the chocolate aisle, and not crave a single ounce of it and not use any of your willpower to do so. Is it possible? Yes, it is. So, because this video is too long, I will give you the exact strategies that you can use to defeat your takeaway and binging and junk food addiction in the next video. So click the subscribe button right now and hit the bell so you don't miss my next video where I talk about it. So yeah, see you in the next video. And also, I do personal coaching and I have a course, so check the link in the description. But yeah, thank you for watching.